Hello and welcome to the new episode of We Talk Talent Series Season 5, the show where we bring you insightful conversations with top HR leaders shaping the future of talent management. Today, we are joined by Joginder Tuteja, Senior Director Recruitment and HR, Axtria, Ingenious Insights. Joginder, welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's likewise, Anmol. I was looking forward to this conversation, so I'm glad that we are meeting here.
Yeah, thanks. So before we dive into the discussion, I would like to briefly introduce today's speaker to our viewers. So Joginder is a passionate leader dedicated to building high-performing teams with and a center of excellence through effective recruitment strategies and delivery. He is known for his ability to connect with people. He thrives on the challenges of bringing top-tier talent on board, ranking from fresh campus recruits to seasoned HR professionals in both IT services and product segments. His leadership in style involves expressing a clear vision, formulating growth plans for the future, and actively participating in the collective journey towards success. So starting with my first question, Joginder, according to you and your industry demands, what type of skill shortage do you think is causing the talent?
See, I'll focus on the IT industry because that's where I belong to and I understand that a little better. Of course, my organization Axtria is into the life sciences, but that's more on the domain thing. But if I talk about the IT skills, I believe one thing that we can definitely do better, and I'm talking about the fresh talent here, which we hire from the campuses, if they get the specialization in the technology. I see dozens and hundreds and maybe thousands of students who come in each of the resumes, it's written something like, we know SQL, we know Python, we know Java, and it all sounds very fascinating. But then during the evaluation process, you realize that it's a very generalized kind of a profiling. So I believe the whole specialization, if that comes in, I know that many campuses have actually started putting the languages or the technology related specializations also as a part of the curriculum, but not all. In fact, I'm glad to see that many MBA campuses have also started focusing a lot on the technology part, which is fabulous. But I still feel that there are some vintage campuses and all, some vintage colleges which have still been following the age-old formula of just plugging in all the kind of technologies and all, and the specialization goes missing. So what I look forward to when I speak to someone who is a fresher and wants to step in is that, let me know about one technology that you know, and which you really know. You had 4 to 5 years in your graduation or the post-graduation that you spent. One technology, maybe I operate in that technology, or maybe I don't operate in that technology, that's rudimentary. What do you know? And as long as you can say, okay, I know SQL, wonderful. Now let's just talk about that. I may or may not be using that. Or Python or R or Java or anything. And I'm talking about some of the very classic technologies there. Not even something which is really cutting edge, something new which has just come up. So yeah, so what I see missing, that was a very long, elaborate answer to your question. But if I have to summarize, specialization. I believe the world is specialized, is very specialization oriented now. No more about being a generic profile. So yeah.
Definitely. So Joginder, how do you see the importance of soft skills evolving in the future?
Very important. Very important. It's not just important now. It was not just important 10 years back. It was very important even 25 years back. And are you okay if I just share an anecdote around this of my own life? Because that may just take about a couple of minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
So when I started my career, that was back in year 2000, the whole Y2K thing, and something I'm a 2000 pass out. And I know that this is going on records, and many of my seniors and juniors will see this as well. But I know that I started learning technology, and I was also trying to be jack of all. So I was learning SQL, I was learning Java. That was the time when I was also working on COBOL and all. But then there was a lot of this soft skill element as well. I used to like giving presentations and being in extempos and then being a part of debates. And then, of course, presenting work-related things to the professor and so on and so forth. And in the organization where I basically interviewed through campus, there were just 2 people who were selected. One person was selected purely on the basis of technology, who was my colleague, and I still remember his name, and may God bless him, Jian Devnath. He's doing very well in his career. And then there was another person who got through, fortunately, purely on the basis of soft skills, which was me, because I could not write anything that they asked me to do on Java. I could not explain COBOL. I was not really great in C either. But I believe the soft skills part, that kind of helped me out. And then over a period of time, I did what I had to do, which is a different story. So what I'm saying is that this is, I'm talking about 23 years back in year 2000. So today, when the clients are so demanding, when there's so much of onshore pressure, when each of your colleagues is so smart out there, and we have been exposed to so much of media and technology, If we are really not into soft skills, we are lacking so far behind, because technology, there are like hundreds and thousands of students today who are so well versed in technology. But communication, verbal skills, presentation skills, all of this is so very well required. The good part is students know about this. It's not that they're oblivious to that, but then one person has an edge over another if you're really great in the soft skills part as well.
That's really interesting. And Joginder, as we delve into discussions on organizational strategies and their adaptation to the evolving employment landscape, I'm particularly interested in gaining insights into your employer branding strategy. Could you elaborate how your approach to employer branding has evolved over the past few years?
Improving patient outcomes. That's the core thing. And again, I'm talking about, because see, you'll hear a very Axtria-centric answers, is because I have spent like last 10 years here. So I perhaps forgotten what I did before that. Though they were great organizations. But if I talk about the employer branding, and since I've been here for 10 years, I can talk about that. We are a life sciences organization. And though we are not creating medicines, manufacturing medicines, but we are making sure that medicines do reach out to people. And hence our branding is entirely around improving patient outcomes. I take a lot of these pre-placement talks, right, to go into the campuses and so on and so forth. And one key thing that I say is that, you know what, each one of you in this room is, of course, a technocrat. And you'll be working with the clients and building applications and working on technologies. And at the end of the day, these are these 10, 15, 20 technologies that will end up working, at least for the next 5, 6 years, till something really great comes in. And you will get paid as well because you are great and you'll be working in great organizations. But what really differentiates between maybe helping manufacturing a car in Tesla to possibly improving the delivery of home goods and home products, maybe in Amazon, or working in the energy sector, vis-a-vis working in a sector like life sciences, where you're saving lives, where you're improving patient outcomes. You're still getting a good lifestyle because of the kind of work that you do and what you're getting paid. But eventually you're doing something noble as well. And that's something that I am personally very passionate about, that what I am doing is actually ensuring that medicines reach people on time. The diagnostics get done faster. The physicians are available in a jiffy, and you are able to kind of take care of your health well. I believe that's my core branding that I do when I reach out to students and the laterals as well.
Yeah, that's good. So, Joginder, now that the Gen Z is entering the workforce and born into the digital era, they bring a different set of expectations with them.
Absolutely.
So, what's your take on this, and how do you see that their expectations differ from those of the previous generations?
Absolutely true. They're very fidgety and in the right way. So they want to do a lot of things. I did not want to do a lot of things 23 years back. I'm kind of sure that maybe 15 years or 10 years back, that kind of generation, which was, what was that? Gen X, Gen Z, I don't know. There are so many generations that keep changing every 5 or 10 years. But I believe today's generation, they want to do a lot of things. They want to be ahead in the race, and they do realize that it's a race. I didn't realize that I was in the race 25 years or 23 years back. Today's kids know that they are in a race. They are also not shy to reprioritize their aspirations and end up collaborating with those who at that point in time promise that they'll be able to help them achieve their aspirations. That's a huge difference. So I'll elaborate this, because my generation was a lot submissive. Let me say I step into an organization and my organization says that these are the 10 things that you need to do. And then I may end up saying that, okay, I will do these 10 things, and maybe I like 6 things and not so very much like these 4 things, but I won't really make much noise around that. And that was nice at that point in time. When it comes to today's generation, they will let you know their happiness and displeasures very clearly right at the onset, which is a great thing, because rather than doing something which you don't like and being in that kind of a zone where you are in a compromised situation, instead of that, making your expectations clear is great. And there is one step even earlier to that. It's not just about making your expectations clear. Once you join an organization, they are very sure about where to even start their career. If they have to switch, then where to even switch. I believe there is a lot more clarity, because, as I said at the beginning, my earlier point was, they are very sure about what they want, though their wants and needs can keep changing over a period of time and in a much quicker fashion. And that's the reason why you see a lot of these jumps also happening from one organization to another organization, especially in the last 5, 6 years, Wala generation. You can see that happening. because they're a lot fidgety, but then they also know what they want, and then they don't shy away from running after that thing which they're truly aspiring. That's the core difference that has definitely come in, and we need to be cognizant of that and be with them in that kind of a race that they're having. But then prior to that, ourselves, we also very clear in setting expectations that this is what we do, this is where your aspirations we can meet, and this is where we cannot meet. Now take a collective call. I cannot just come up with a generic statement that, okay, you know what, great organization, come and join me. I have to be very clear so that we have a happy marriage going.
Yeah, definitely. So my last question to you is again that you have been into this HR space for now quite a long time.
That's right.
So what are some of the most prominent challenges that you face in this TA space? And what are the strategies to overcome?
Yeah. So couple of things. So as I said, one is identifying the right talent, B, procuring that talent, C, retaining that talent. And honestly, I haven't come up with any golden statements here. Any HR or TA person will tell you this. You know, identify, procure, and retain. The difference that has come in is pretty much related to the pointer that I just made prior to that. That you have to be very, very, very careful in identifying the kind of talent that you want to go. So if I have to talk about, say, the campus, because I'll focus on the campus side, because then there's a whole different rigmarole when it comes to the lateral hiring, but let me just talk about the campus. You need to be very sure what are the kind of courses that you want to utilize for your talent identification. Fair enough. So what's the kind of organization that we are? Do we just see the CSIT people? Do you want to go for the on the robotics side as well? Do I get the AI people as well? So be very sure. Identify the right kind of campuses, the right kind of courses, the right kind of pedigrees in terms of who do you want to rope in. Plus, and I'm talking about the identifying point itself, plus the soft skills part. Very, very, very important. One of the key agendas that we have as an organization in 2024 is that tomorrow when a campus student joins in, after 2 months of initial training, the person should be client ready. We had always been in this whole shielding mechanism that, okay, start, then you spend some time in the organization, learn the domain, start conversing with onshore, be confident, give some presentation, and 2 years down the line, once you'll be associate or a senior associate, you'll be ready for the client. No. You have to have them as client ready, and that's the whole reason why the identification part is so important. Then it comes to the procuring part. When it comes to the procuring part, it needs to be a marriage of equals. I cannot just be extremely happy that IIT Madras CSIT person dual degree has been willing to join me, so that person is gold. Of course, that person is gold. IIT Madras, CSIT person, and not to take away from the other wonderful campuses. I just took one example. He's gold. But do I need that gold? And will that gold look good on me? And is this person also willing to adapt me? So that marriage, definitely, there is a lot of thought that needs to go behind that. Because I can go ahead and get the most premium person, but if the person is unhappy here, or I am not able to leverage that person in the bestest way possible, then I'm doing disservice to both the person, the student, my business, and then my client.
Absolutely.
I am definitely a culprit here, but I have ended up keeping 3 other people also very unhappy. So procurement, get the right person who also believes that I am right for them. And then retaining, because again, my sales and marketing is done. I identified the right campus. I helped the best person come and join me. But what happens in the delivery? That's the retaining part. Am I now actually giving this person the right platform to grow and excel and actually be client ready? Am I doing a health check of the kind of emotions that this person is going through? Am I doing a sanity check of the kind of deliveries which are actually coming in? And if this person is on the fast track, am I creating a platform good enough so that the person moves on a fast track rather than having sagging shoulders after 6 months in the organization? So that's the whole retention part. As long as I have the well-rounded systems in place where I can ensure that each of these 3 stages are, taken care of well, and the person is moving in the right direction, and my business is also happy, and my client is thrilled, I have done my job there. It's a very difficult thing to do than just saying, but yeah, someone has to do that job. And this is where the collective effort comes into picture.
Absolutely, these are important points to consider. And thank you so much, Joginder, for sharing your valuable perspective with us today. And it's been a pleasure having you on this show. And for our viewers, let's continue to learn and grow together. And don't forget to tune in to the next episode of We Talk Talent series. Have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you so much.